Crypto and blockchain is a fast-moving industry with scores of technical jargon, crazy buzzwords that you and I have never heard of, and it can be dizzying for new people just entering the space. But there are a few books that I always recommend to friends and family who want to learn just a little bit more, and they set the perfect context to the who, what, when, where, why, and how of crypto. And they will be relevant for readers even 10 years from now, so they're a bit of an evergreen resource. Buckle up, get your reading glasses on. This is 90 Seconds to Crypto's top blockchain book recommendations. You ready? Starting off with our first book is Andreas Antonopoulos' Internet of Money Volume 1. Andreas Antonopoulos is the OG of OG crypto educators in blockchain, and he's been around since the very, very early days of Bitcoin. He has probably given thousands of seminars and was doing it at Bitcoin conferences when only 2 people were in attendance. So in terms of legitimacy and staying power, there are a few better voices than Andreas to listen to. The reason why this book is particularly compelling is because, well, this book is barely even a book. It's essentially a series of transcribed talks from many of his lectures. So reading through the book makes it feel like you're sitting right there in the lecture room with him. And because each chapter is taken from a spoken lecture, and you have to remember these are early day lectures when nobody understood anything about crypto or blockchain or Bitcoin, he uses very simple language to convey his concepts about Bitcoin and blockchain. Alongside the simple language, Andreas combines his prolific use of analogies in order to convey his concepts and set the context for why blockchain is such an important development in technology. One of my favorite analogies, in one chapter, he will recall the early days when the car was first invented and how governments would essentially create ass-backwards rules to limit the use of cars in order to favor horse-drawn carriages. And then he will effortlessly tie this analogy back in with modern-day finance and how governments and central banks essentially rate limit newer financial rails like crypto in order to favor traditional dinosaurs like big banks. In another chapter, he helps readers conceptualize the concepts of dumb versus smart networks. And in case you're not sure, blockchains are of the dumb variant, but he argues dumb networks is actually where innovation flourishes because of its open-ended peer-to-peer nature. Dumb networks provide basic functionalities, and beyond that, do not limit what users or developers might build on top of it. This stands in contrast to smart networks like Facebook or Twitter, which are essentially walled gardens, and users have no recourse at the whims of the owners and developers of the network. These are just a few of the small examples that Andreas uses to effortlessly give context to why blockchain and crypto is such an important technology in the development of all technologies. And because it's such a short read and built for a broader, more general audience, it is the perfect resource for those just getting started. Internet of Money is actually a trilogy with 3 volumes. But if you only have time for one book, Volume 1 is an easy recommendation and is pretty much always my safest recommendation to friends and family that want to learn more about our space. Number 2, The Infinite Machine by Camilla Russell. While The Internet of Money by Andreas Antonopoulos covers Bitcoin and blockchain and the why of it, The Infinite Machine, on the other hand, is a page-turning narrative on Ethereum and all of its important early history up until around the year 2020. The book often comes as a recommendation by me because rather than a dry and boring academic text or some irrelevant literature on trading advice for traders, The Infinite Machine is a well-crafted narrative on the birth of Ethereum and does a stellar job introducing all of the characters, aka the people that brought Ethereum to life. And also, to be honest, as a nice little Easter egg for myself, the book mentions my former company, ChainSafe. And of course, a book on Ethereum wouldn't be complete without a section on Ethereum's main founder, Vitalik Buterin, and how the former child prodigy turned blockchain figurehead of crypto wrestled with some of the early governance and technical decisions that affected Ethereum and would essentially shape Ethereum as it is today. The book covers all of the early dramas on Ethereum, including the infamous 2016 DAO hack that almost killed Ethereum completely, and does it in a way that keeps you flipping the page for more. So if you've gotten your appetite whetted by the internet of money, The Infinite Machine is the perfect companion that will give readers a glimpse into the predominant culture of crypto, which is led by essentially optimistic and idealistic Ethereans such as myself. Number 3, Sovereign Individual by James Dale Davidson and William Rees Mogg. After the first 2 books, I would suggest my viewers to dive right into The Sovereign Individual. The book was written in 1997 and represents a bit of a heavier read with 444 pages and slightly more academic language. But it was written in 1997 and written at the advent of the internet and covers the broader social and technological ramifications of such technologies. Notably, the book says that these new technologies, these new cryptographic primitives, new web-based things will enable a new class of what the authors call sovereign individuals that will weaken traditional power structures between nation states and its subjects, the citizens. Does any of this sound familiar? As someone who constantly harps on self-custody, trust minimization, permissionless access all the time, weakening traditional power structures via cryptography is music to my ears. This book sets the context for why crypto is such an important development in technology, and it was written almost 30 years ago. And of course, the book is highly regarded by many in the crypto space because it makes a lot of prescient predictions, which turned out to be true. So anyone that wants to take crypto seriously and understand the why of crypto, this is the source. The Sovereign Individual rewired the way I view cryptography as a defensive technology. And one of my favorite lessons from the book is a new way of understanding what the book calls monopolies on violence. In the feudal age, it was a time of knights and armors and swords and horses. The monopolies on violence went to the warlords and the kings. And then when the industrial age came, the monopolies on violence concentrated with big governments that were able to coordinate vast amounts of manpower into large armies. But in the information age, the author argues that with the help of asymmetric defensive technologies like cryptography and encryption, which cannot be easily broken, traditional power structures will be weakened and there will be an upcoming shift in the balance of powers, favoring individuals who can shop around jurisdictions for favorable taxes and laws and policies. The book powers the newer idea of network states, another one of my favorite reads, and as a source volume, I think should provide plenty of inspiration for many on the frontier of ideas. All in, this is the perfect read because it leans into some of the same energy that powers a lot of the crypto industry, a concept called cypherpunk, which in itself is a challenge to traditional power structures via cryptography and encryption, which, by the way, if you haven't yet, read a cypherpunk's manifesto. So there you go. Those are my top 3 book recommendations for crypto, with 2 of them being a pretty easy read and 1 of them being a little bit more of an advanced read. That being said, all 3 books should set readers up with a moderate understanding of blockchain, but more importantly, a well-rounded understanding on the values and principles behind why this technology is so important. Let me know what you guys think about the books. Drop a comment down below, and of course, a like and subscribe will go a long way to helping this channel. And also, let me know if you guys want more book recommendations because I got tons more where that came from. Peace.